Hello, and welcome to the BOWA Show, Quarantine Edition number what, Ben?
Episode 4 of the Quarantine Edition.
Quarantine, more like Borentine, as our title would say.
Ain't that the truth?
You gotta love those Billy Madison memes.
Yep, it's definitely been a weird couple of weeks, Sean.
Dude, it has. How are you doing, Ben?
I'm kind of here or there.
Okay, well, maybe enlighten me, because we don't have much else to talk about.
Well, like I was telling you, I'm trying to get that house, and that's been weird. But also, while battling the difficulty of getting that house wrapped up, it also puts into perspective how little that should matter.
Mm.
There's a lot of worse things happening, so I'm
It's
trying not to get
just,
so pissed off about it.
it's just background noise.
Yep.
But it's noise nonetheless. And unfortunately, this is a rough time on a lot of people. We have to be real about that. And we've tried to stay away from talking about it. And even like in our conversations that we just have privately, it's like, man, I wish we didn't have to just talk about coronavirus. But it's like, well, shit, it really is just on everybody's mind, and it's what we're all going through. And everybody kind of feels, because you're literally self-isolating, that a lot of people are going nuts with it. And
Yep.
Last week I think we did a good job of getting a couple of things out there for productivity for yourself. I like that we're focusing more on just like mental health impact than necessarily like you were talking before we started, the Gary V mentality of like, you got to be hustling, you stick on your grind through these times. And
Yeah. And that's fine. Like, I'm not saying it's stupid. I'm saying don't push that shit on people who don't want it or need it.
mhm.
Like, I understand, but if somebody comes up to me while you know, I was reading a book the other day that's it's a novel, right? Not gonna necessarily make me a better person. It's not helping me on my grind. It's not making me a better entrepreneur. It's not helping me get this bread. And if somebody else comes up to me and says, "Bro, you've got all the time in the world, do something real productive, change your life,"
Mhm.
I'm gonna beat his ass with that fucking book because I'm sick of it. This is a time for me to determine what I need to do to get through this and to better myself, if I even want to.
Right.
But if somebody doesn't want to, leave them be.
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
seriously, because like just getting by through a time like this is
Yeah.
a big deal. Like, in our text message exchange before this, the real impact here is that this is very traumatic. This is a very traumatic event that a lot of people are going through. And it's not even whether or not this has impacted you personally yet. This isn't a matter of like whether or not you're sick or anyone you know is sick. The fact of the matter is, life as we know it has been completely put on pause. And in our history, the people who have been alive, we've never seen a time like this. Like, everything is shut down, everything is closing. We're distancing ourselves further and further. We're doing our best to try and limit the scope of this. Yes, we can talk about negatives all day long, like the US's numbers are through the roof on cases, but something that I pointed out to Ben before is the other thing is we also have a record number of tests going out, that we're
Yeah.
testing a lot of people, and we're getting a lot of tests back that are negative, and a lot of people who don't have this, who have something else going on with them, whatever it may be, whether it's a strain of the flu, whether it's a strain of a cold, whether it's allergies, all of those different things are playing an impact on people right now. And it's a scary time. It takes a mental toll on you every single day when you're looking at the updates, when you're looking at the increase in cases, when you're looking at, you know, hot spots around the country that are dealing with ventilator issues and hospitals being packed. And the other thing too is you get so much misinformation nowadays. There are so many people who are sharing things that are false. There are so many people who are like, making YouTube videos of like, oh, this is a fake, it's a conspiracy. And it's like, well, no, I mean, is it a big deal in the places where it's currently a big deal? Absolutely. And I think that it's more a case of like, hey, I can go to Muskegon Hospital right now and I'm sure that I could get in without a problem, because it's not packed to capacity at this moment. But at the same time, I think that they're just trying to prepare people like, hey, it could though if we don't try and take precautions here.
Well, we're trying to
It
flatten the curve. The more that we can, it just makes it so that people in hospitals can handle it. Not necessarily like stop it immediately, but not have an influx of severe cases all at one
right.
time. Yeah.
And
Like we've
you
seen in Italy.
right. And you had said earlier, you're like, well, it's still kind of weird. It's like this isn't real. Like, having
It,
to work from home all the time, being at your house all the time. And it really is like you're working through the stages of grief. Like you're in denial right now. You're working through that moment of like, oh, this can't possibly be true. This can't possibly be happening because this, you know what I mean?
well, have you a couple weeks ago, and this was towards the beginning, I wasn't even working from home yet. I went through Myers and just empty shelves, and I'm like, what? Because you see it in all these looting for hurricanes and all this stuff. Well, I walk into Myers in the middle of West Michigan, and I'm like, what's the toilet paper? where, where is everything? What
Right.
is going on? Never seen it before. It was just kind of surreal. Uh-oh.
It absolutely is surreal. Oh, the
Sean,
coughing could be from a number of things.
I hope it's not. Okay. All right. And this is
Um,
why we're quarantined,
I
people.
almost spit my Arnold Palmer out all over the place. But talking about the stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. And working through those of staying home. The denial is the early on, like, oh, toilet paper is not going to be on a shortage here. People aren't nuts like that around here. That might happen in the big cities, but it's not going to happen around here.
Exactly.
Anger because there's no toilet paper when you go to the grocery store, bargaining because the asshole in the parking lot has a van full of it that he's selling for $5 a
Oh my
roll,
God.
depression because you won't pay $5 a roll for toilet paper, and
No,
acceptance that you're now going to use your sock as toilet paper.
I just feel like acceptance is the portion where you're just looking,
Looking at
looking.
your hand
You're like,
dejectedly.
oh man.
I was walking through the toilet paper aisle though, and it's totally empty shelves. I do have to say, Meyer and Muskegon, the last time I had to go in for the bare essentials, they did have some toilet paper and limiting the amount that you can now take. A little bit late, but there is some toilet paper there if people need it. They're gonna slowly but surely be able to restock that. But as you go through the bare aisles of toilet paper, the other side, the Kleenex are fully stocked, and that's like rich people toilet paper right there. That's like,
I don't know,
dude,
man.
it's got aloe vera.
Yeah, but they're kind of thin sometimes.
Oh no, you buy the nice Kleenex, aloe vera,
Man,
double
think
ply.
I'm wealthy? My God.
This is what the times have come to, people. This
No, the
is
times have come to me looking at purchasing a $60 bidet attachment.
it's a fantastic investment
It
because
really
you'll
is.
not worry about toilet paper.
Don't you have one, Sean?
I don't. No,
Oh, I know somebody who does. I don't remember who.
it is not I.
No, no.
No, but
Nope.
you know what we could still do for people today? Well, I guess the normal intro, like, oh, damn, if you're on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, whatever, you know the joke, people. I've asked for reviews all the time. You get the handful of them. Thank you to all the people who do. Thank you to the people who support us. If you're some of the people who are listening to this right now, thank you, because we're doing this because there are still people listening. For whatever reason, you're checking out the BOWA show during your time spent at home, and we're happy to keep bringing that show to you. Our numbers are down, but we don't take that as a personal insult because it's just like I don't think anybody knows what to do with themselves right now. And
No.
the fact that there is still a good core of people who are listening to the podcast every week, and there's still like 10 of you on YouTube who have clicked that subscribe button and you've jingled the bell and all that stuff, who show up all the time for us. So thank you to those core people. You're the ones who we like to reward. You're the ones who we like to give the shout outs to. You're the ones who deserve that love. So Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. It means a lot during these trying times. But as always, I've got some good news for you. Before I get into that, though, I have to talk about how someone, namely John Krasinski, who I'm calling out personally. Yeah, you, Jim Halpert. I see you. I see you totally stealing our segments. He's called it some good news, and he does a 15-minute segment of good news stories that he wanted to highlight for people. You even took our name of the segment and
Okay,
failed
it's
to give any credit.
you really. I mean, it's not like it's proprietary or anything. It's
You
called
know,
good news.
if you want to get conspiracy theory on it, which I will for a second, I email Rainn Wilson on a regular basis because he runs the Soul Pancake website. John Krasinski from The Office, Jim and Dwight cahoots. I'm just saying. I'm not saying.
Man, I saw that and I was like, Sean's gonna be wondering what's going. He's not gonna be pissed or anything, obviously, because
Oh,
I
I
mean,
can just make jokes about it all day. That's
it's
the fun part.
hilarious.
It is, yeah. The fact is, we need more people doing it. I don't care what the hell you call it. We need more
Yeah.
people highlighting the good stuff in the world because the world needs more of it. So I just thought it was hilarious that he said some good news, and I literally say every episode, I've got some good news for you.
I actually like his segment. If you haven't checked it out, check it out and then come back to us.
That's right. Yeah, go give it a listen. But the story we've got today, Ben, you wanna start it off, and
I can definitely do that. It's an awesome one. Well, they're always awesome. It's good
yeah.
news. This one comes from the openmind.com. This one was written very, very recently, April 1st, so just a few days ago. This one is called Every Single Animal Gets Adopted at Colorado Shelter During the Crisis. So, a fantastic rare occasion at the animal shelter, Humane Society of the Pikes Peak region. Only humans to be heard. No dogs barking or cats meowing. It is not often that this happens anywhere in the world. Probably one of the most satisfying feelings for the staff at HSPPR. Not once, but twice they emptied their cages in a week. My heart wants to burst with happiness for these animals. Can you imagine how the animals felt to find a forever home? To top it all, this happened during the outbreak of this terrible virus the world is going through. Finding dogs and cats new homes is hard enough. Yet this happened while residents were beginning to hunker down and practicing social isolation during this challenging time.
That's right, Colorado Springs. You did it again. We emptied out our cat adoption center on Tuesday, and last night we adopted out every dog in our available dog kennel. Amazing. Just look at all those empty kennels. We can't thank you enough for helping us find homes for all these amazing pets during this difficult time, the shelter said. Despite the success of its adoptions, the HSPPR still has new animals coming in every day. Whether they are strays or owner surrenders, many more furry friends are entering the shelter. It was a huge victory adopting out all the animals. Adopting an animal from the shelter is less expensive than buying a pet. They are more likely house trained and will probably be the most loving pet you could ever wish for. They could show their gratitude with love, affection, and loyalty.
Pets can lessen the feeling of isolation and loneliness in all age groups. Pets make beautiful friends. They can help improve a person's well being in various ways.
And I can totally attest to that because having a dog is just fantastic. They
Yeah,
will always bother you. They don't care about the coronavirus at all.
you want to talk about your rescue a little bit, Sean?
Ah, I love my Shotzi.
Tell us about her.
Uh, German Shepherd. She comes from a home where she didn't get any kind of attention. She was just chained up outside. And then she went on to kind of like an intermediate between her time with me, and the people had her with another dog, and so she started to mellow out just a little bit, but they didn't have enough time for her. She's a puppy still at that time. I think she was only like a year old, maybe a year and a half, something like that. And I got her and bonded immediately, which is really weird because she does not trust men at all. Like, you can tell that her first owner probably abused her. She has a couple of quirks. Um, and it was probably a man who did it because she does not like men, doesn't trust strange men at all. So it's really unique that she bonded with me right away and just kind of had that trust there right from the beginning. I was still living at my mom's back then. This is, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that. And so she bonded with my mom right away too, and we had a good time there. And then me moving out onto my own, she stayed with mom for a little bit to take care and protect her, which is nice because she's extremely protective. She is loyal to the people who she sees in her pack, which is a very nice thing to have. And I think you get that from a lot of rescues. I think that they bond with the people who they know, like, you're my forever, and I can tell that finally.
Hmm.
And when you give that to animals, they give that back, you know?
Right.
So I think she responded to that most from me, and I love that dog to death. She has moments of being so much of a handful and like will try my patience, and anybody who knows me knows that patience is my strong suit. Like, people will not break my patience. That dog can come close.
That's
But
wild to hear.
right, right. But yeah, she barks at everything, absolutely everything. So trying to get her in the point now because I'm staying home all the time of like, okay, it's all right. You can, so when you can let me know when something's going on, but when I tell you to chill, you got to chill out. You don't have to like lunge at the windows and shit like that. It doesn't have to go that far. So trying to just take her down and bring her a good energy and a good home. And so articles like that always hit close to home for me because she's a rescue situation, and it always makes me feel good knowing that she's in a home where she has someone with that level of patience for her.
Right. That's really nice that you found a dog like that. It can be
Well,
tough. A lot of people are a little bit nervous to rescue. They think, well, starting off with somebody else's problems.
it definitely helped that she was in, like the family I got her from. Like I said, it wasn't the first family that like left her outside and didn't, give her attention. They at least kind of started to show her attention, and she was a good dog. Like, she had things that she does so well. Like, it's nuts that when I'm working in the summertime and everything, she can sit here for, 10 to 12 hours and not have any accidents in the house and doesn't chew up any of my stuff, and just does her thing and can hold it until I get home. And sometimes I'm able to stop in on a lunch break and let her out or whatever else. But if she has to, it's nice to know that she's that well behaved that she'll just wait for me to get home and then she goes outside and goes right away. But
Right. Right.
so there are so many things about her. She doesn't knock over the trash can. She doesn't, her food just sits on the floor and she doesn't like tear into it. It's like, no, I don't really care about the dry food. I'll wait for that wet food treat at night, you know?
Yep.
So she has so many good tendencies about her, no accidents in the house. And, that's why, just like me and everything else in life, I focus on the good and I don't dwell on that bad because it's too easy to do. It's too easy to let that be your dominating thoughts.
Yeah, especially like right now.
Dude, these times especially, exactly. It's a trying time. It weighs on you. And I said to you before, and I don't know, it's sucks to have to say, but it's a struggle for a lot of people because it makes you self-reflect. You know what I mean? Like, you're forced into this moment. You're forced into the having to look in the mirror and be okay with who you are because you're spending nothing but time with yourself. And even quarantining with family or anything else, you guys are still probably going off and doing your own thing. And so you are having a lot more time of like, oh, it's just me and my thoughts. And that can be scary. And this is why, like, I don't tell you that you need to make this time like, oh, you need to be exercising, you need to be getting in better shape, you need to be
Right.
eating incredibly healthy, you need to be making that money, you need to be doing this, this, and this. I'm not going to tell you that during this time, but what I will absolutely tell any of you out there who are watching or listening right now is you do need to focus on your mental health because that is critical at a time like this. You have to have that mental foundation. It needs to be there for you. Your voice in your head needs to be your biggest supporter, and it needs to be your cornerstone. And in times like this, it is the main thing that pulls you through. It's the main thing that keeps your mind right. It's that X factor, and I can just see it so quickly hitting people. And there was the story that made its rounds about the guy who committed suicide already because of self-isolation, and he just felt so alone. And to have his mental state get to that point right away and not feel like he could reach out to anybody. I'll always tell people that, like, when you're feeling those things, you have to reach out. You have to find the strength to reach out, because that is step one, finding some way to try and get help. And during these times especially, there are a lot of psychiatrists, psychologists, counselors, just good people who are willing to do the thing that me and Ben are doing right now and just have that conversation just like this. And for a lot of people, I would bet this feels way more easy to be open and honest, because even though I'm looking right at Ben and we're having this conversation and we know it's a podcast that's going out to people all over the place, it still just feels like a conversation. And it would be much easier for someone to try and reach out to someone the same way. So look for those outlets, because they're there. And if you're struggling, this could be your step one. If nothing else, you do need to take the time to do your mental assessment during this time. It needs to be a priority, and it needs to be your focus, because these times are so tough. And if your mind's not in it, it's going to be so much tougher on you.
So what do you think, Sean? Let's say somebody like me, I'm like, you know what, Sean, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do some mental health check. I just want to sit my ass on the couch and watch some television, just binge, because that's what I think will make me feel the best. Is
Uh-huh.
that wrong?
No, not at all. Like, if that's the thing that does get you through, that's okay. But the thing is, you can't be like sitting there dwelling depressed, going through these thoughts of not feeling like you're adequate enough. If that feels okay to you, that's okay. But if it's eating away at you that you're doing that, if you're saying I should be doing this or this, if it's bothering you, if it's, if there are changes that you could make, you can make the changes.
Hmm.
The difference, though, is like you have to be able to find some sense of norm for yourself. You have to be able to find that sense of peace. You have to find where that moment is. I spend a lot of time, throughout these days just sitting and watching Netflix or Hulu or whatever else. And a lot of times I'll sit there and I'll be like, damn, I feel so unproductive right now. And then I'll like sit there and I'm like, but wait a minute, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I'm just going to do that. Sometimes you're just going to pass the time. Sometimes you're going to play some Candy Crush on your phone. Sometimes you're going to scroll through Facebook and just look at Tiger King memes for 30 minutes.
God forbid.
That bitch Carol Baskin is going to ruin your day.
Oh, I still haven't watched past the second episode, so
Ah, that sucks, because you could easily go as him for Halloween with your hairstyle and everything you got going.
no. No, you know who I'm gonna go as for
That'd
Halloween
be
this
funny.
year?
What?
Jesus Christ.
Ah, well, the hair is pretty close.
The man himself.
I can see where you would get that from with the flow that you got going.
Yep, I'm trying to grow facial hair. It doesn't work very well.
The world needs Jesus, so you're not that far off.
Do they though? Or
Oh,
do they
dude,
need
look at us.
masks?
Both. Y'all
Oh
need
man.
Jesus.
Yeah. That's tough, Sean. Like what you're saying is just because here's an example. Like, yeah, I sit here and I struggle with anxiety myself. And so it doesn't matter if it's a normal day before all this is going on or if it's right now. I always think I should be doing something else.
Mhm.
Always. And I know that comes down to battling it myself and getting rid of the anxiety itself. You have any tips for anybody out there on how to be less anxious when you can't even go and see your friends?
No,
What are
dude,
some ways that you calm down?
that's tough, because like I saw someone post on Facebook or whatever, that the feeling that a lot of people are going through right now of like panic, anxiety, of not knowing the world around them, of being unsure and uneasy. That's like what people who have severe anxiety deal with on a daily basis all the time. Like you said, before this happened, you would have those kind of moments, let alone now in dealing with all this kind of stuff.
Right.
So it It is really tough. There are so many different outlets online to find. I know that, like, it sounds stupid, but having somebody to talk things out with, having somebody to just vent the frustration sometimes can do wonders for you. I know I've pushed meditation a lot, and that's something that will always be there for me. And, the other thing too is that I don't know, I dealt with at 17, 18, 19, 20 years old depression and anxiety on a regular basis, and it was a very much a part of my life. And I talk about in the first couple episodes that, although I never would have gone as far as like being like I'll kill myself, I definitely hit the point of like I don't care if I wake up tomorrow,
Hmm.
and that's a pretty scary point too. And through years and years of constant work and trying to rewire my brain and trying to rework this muscle and figure out how to work it out, and using my brain in a way that uplifts me and motivates me and reinvigorates me and always is a sense of calm in the storm, where a lot of things going on around me and my mind will still be like, the only thing you can do is make the best of it, and whether that's sitting on the couch watching Netflix or that's working out, because that is something that's important to me and something that I'm finding a lot more time for now that I didn't have a lot of. And, so um, having those outlets to channel it, having those things that keep you were important before this all started, and I think it's only more important now. And the other thing too is that, like, even though this can be an incredibly scary time, there still is so much hope that we could have so much of a brighter future because of this. And I know that, like, that sounds hard to see in the moment, but if you look at all of the things that are happening, we really could move more towards a society that prepares more for pandemics and less for global wars, where
Right.
we realize that the enemy that we're fighting that's invisible might be more important than the enemy that we're fighting who has brown skin, and that, like, realizing all of the different strangleholds that have been put on us as society. How many people have been told it's not possible that you can work from home, and you're now working from home? You know what I mean? Your boss said it wasn't possible and you're doing it every day. Maybe after this, a lot more people lean towards, why do I need to come into the office all the time? I'm going to work remotely 2 or 3 days a week, How many more people might have opportunities to work entirely remotely from home after this, where
Mhm.
they thought that that might not be possible before?
Right.
How many people, like, you have Comcast for me, where they came in and they totally lifted their data caps. Most of the time when you have Xfinity, your data is capped at 2,400 gigabytes a month. So, most people will never touch that, especially if you work or anything else. If you come home and you stream Netflix for a couple hours each night, you're never going to get close to that data cap. When you're sitting at home all day and you're all on your phones and you're all on Netflix and Hulu and you're all on this shit, that data goes through the roof. Well, they lifted all the caps on people because they know you're all sitting at home right now. Doesn't that make you question why we have caps on them in the first place? You can pull them off when you want to. There's literally no reason why we have them other than the fact that it creates an opportunity exactly for you to make more money off of me. So we're going to start seeing people seeing these things and being like, wait a minute, just because it's been like this forever doesn't mean that it has to be like this forever.
Right.
We can start making these changes. Maybe some social distancing is a good thing. Maybe we are way too much on top of each other's shit and we need to be like, hey, let's open up space a little bit. Let's be more cleanly. Let's, focus on helping out these people who have compromised immune systems who are going to
Right.
get hit worse when these kind of things happen.
Yeah.
The
Let's
fact
not
is,
hoard. Let's reach out to each other. Let's see what
right.
we can do for each other.
Exactly. In times like this, I will still be the guy who focuses on the positives. We've tested more than like 1.5 million people in this country for coronavirus. And yes, we've had 300 plus positive tests. You know what I mean? 300 plus thousand positive tests and we have the highest number in the world hands down, but we're also testing more people than anybody else in the world.
Yep.
We're getting those tests out there now. We're having scientists having breakthroughs that are getting tests faster and faster for results, and getting tests now that show if you have the antibodies. Maybe you've already had this virus and it worked its way through you without you even knowing, and you have these antibodies in you now. And then on top of that, those people with that kind of can donate blood or plasma that might be used to be able to help people who are sick now. Finding out these things, there are always positive advancements, but the fact of the matter is, fear and scare tactics and that kind of shit drives ratings. It absolutely does. And so it's going to be the focus from all sides, and you're going to get misinformation from all sides. And there are always going to be the people who try and paint this as absolutely nothing, and there are always going to be the people who try and paint this as the apocalypse, you know. And the fact of the matter is, most of us sitting out there just fall somewhere in the middle of feeling really fucking weird right now. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what's normal. I don't know. Some days I sit there and I'm like, did I brush my teeth today? Fuck. You know, like, that's real. And it's just because we're just all sitting here so much. And it's a crazy, crazy time to be alive and to be a part of this. But we're all a part of history. And at the end of the day, my faith always falls in the humanity that says that we will come together, we will find a way out of this darkness. And when we do, we'll have a greater appreciation for the light that's on the other side.
I don't think I could have said it any better myself.
I wish we could just soundbite that moment right there, because I felt like I kind of went off on a little rant. Like, I blacked out. Like, what's going on? Timestamp that one for me, Ben.
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
Because I, like, just kind of tranced out of, like, nope, let's talk about this. Let's be real.
Yeah.
And maybe I alleviated just a tiny ounce of the anxiety in you. Like, yeah, it's totally scary. It's a crazy time, but there's hope. There's always hope. And as long as we're here, and as long as we're still breathing, and we have the collective that is humanity, there is hope.
There's always hope, Sean. That's why I come to you.
That's why we chat once a week, eh?
Yep. Exactly. I don't know. I just the anxiety and, like you said, the grief. Like, we're all going through it, but there is so many outlets that we can reach out to. We just have to do so.
Yeah, it's important to do so.
And don't let anybody tell you you're living your life wrong right now.
That's
Unless
exactly
maybe you're physically or mentally harming yourself, then yes, maybe
right.
you are living
or
it wrong.
others.
Correct.
If you are causing physical or emotional or spiritual harm on yourself or others, you are doing it wrong right now, and
Right.
this is why we need to change. If you're not doing those things, anything else, you're just feeling weird. It's normal right now. Trust me, we're all feeling weird. Even me, Mr. Positive, optimistic, I am still always going to be that guy. I still fully recognize how weird this is right now on everybody. And
Yep.
so, like, the other thing too, everybody's going through it totally differently while we're all the same. You know, like, we're all kind of freaking out inside while not freaking out, and we're all kind of like, don't know if I should be freaking out. Should I be freaking out more? Is this just gonna blow over? You know, I mean, how long is it before we, like, have to go back outside and, like, we might limit mass gatherings of, like, concerts and shit like that for a while, but eventually people are going to be like, well, we have to do something.
Right.
Is it everybody wears a mask from now on, and that's going to be the new norm around? I think that will be for a while. Whether it's the homemade ones. I think Margie is working on some. I gave her a ton because I have so many bandanas. I mean, like, tons. So if she can take the material and turn them into, like, double, triple layer masks and stuff like that, I think she's
Right.
working on that. So if any of our listeners out there are healthcare people and you may want a BOWA show face mask, yeah, Ben, you probably would want one.
Yes, I would.
But yeah, I gave her a bunch of my bandanas to sacrifice. I held on to some of the ones that are near and dear to my heart, but hopefully she can turn some of those into a fruitful project while we're at home, and make masks for people who might need them for the coming future. But
That's awesome.
do our part, right?
Gotta do your part. Can't tell you how much that means to me and everybody else that's listening, I'm sure.
Little
We're all in
things.
it together. We're all in it together.
We are. And we just had a pretty nice conversation today, Ben.
It was a pretty good conversation,
I'm
Sean. I'm feeling
grateful.
better.
I'm grateful for you for still sitting down with me once a
Th-
week.
Thank you, Sean.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll get to do this outdoors sometime.
Right. I'm excited just for the time when I can come give you a hug.
I
You
know,
know.
man. My favorite meme that's now my background on my phone is just this guy's tweet. And he said, I would have hugged the boys a little tighter if I knew this was how it was going. And I'm like, man, I feel it.
Right.
Because, like, honestly, we're all like, man, coronavirus is getting kind of out of hand. And I see, like, Joel and I see you. All right, we'll see you next time, Sean. We'll see you 3 weeks later now. We're like, Sean, where are you, man?
Right.
Yeah.
You haven't seen me in 4 weeks.
And see, here's the thing. Everybody has heard this and everybody knows it, but nobody does anything about it because it's very difficult to get through your head as you don't understand what you got till it's gone.
Yep.
Look at what you don't have right now. And did you think it was going to come up this fast? If you were one of the people who was planning on this being such a big deal, good for you. You might have, a little bit more understanding in that. But if you're sitting here, you're missing your friends, you're missing your family, you're worried about things, remember, maybe you should appreciate a little bit more when this is all over.
Yeah. Find what's important and make it your priority now.
Yep.
And like I said during my rant, during all that, just remember, the companies who look out for people right now, and the companies who take care of people, and the ones who don't, most importantly,
Yeah.
uh,
There's
find the
some popping
businesses
up.
that you can support. If you still have local,
What?
whoa, you just had a huge lag there.
Oh,
Did
I
you?
said there's some that are popping up, like
Your
ones that
audio's
don't.
breaking up, Ben.
Oh, no, it's not, Sean. Am I cleared? Am I
Uh-oh.
fixed? Am I fixed?
Wait,
Am I fixed?
wait, hold on. I can hear you, but you have not caught up yet.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wait, you're close now. There, you're back to normal.
Ah, thank God. No, but
So
I'm
we'll
saying
have
there
to
are
we'll
a
have to
lot.
just cut that part out right there.
I'll take care of it.
Yeah, that
But
was bad.
there are a lot of companies popping up right now that we're looking at and we're like, why aren't you helping more? Why are
Right.
you just being that way? And I think we need to take a look at it. It's kind of like the Whole Foods idea. You know what I mean? Like so many people go and shop at Whole Foods just because they know Whole Foods has a different mentality and a different brand that
Hmm.
they believe that things are up to Whole Foods standards. Well, I'm the same way with the companies that I like to purchase from. If you don't have the kind of standards I think that you should have as a corporation or as a business, then it's going to take a lot for me to want to buy from you in general.
Hmm.
That's why I'll never have Comcast Xfinity. So even if they're doing a few nice things right now, I don't know. I just think we all gotta have each other's back, and anybody who doesn't have somebody else's back, it's a good time to look at that person and say, "Well, do I really want to include them in my life?"
It's
For me,
true.
at least. I know you always include everybody. We've had that argument.
Yeah, you know me, I'm gonna continue to try to lift people up, not put them down. As long as I can.
You gotta do what you gotta do. I'd like
Yeah.
to have somebody lift me up besides you once in a while. Oh wait, I have hundreds of them.
Do you?
Friends and family, bro.
Yeah, that's right.
I got like 800 friends on
So
Facebook,
isn't it
dude.
important to remember that?
Sean, what do you think? Are we ready for comedy yet, or you got something else for me?
No, I think it's a good time to roll into comedy. What do you have today, Ben?
This one is a really awesome one. It comes from who else? The Laugh Factory. Really love them, and they haven't tried to shut us down yet. This one comes from KT Tatara. It's about resetting the password. So it's pretty funny. I think a lot of people can, especially right now when we're all working from home all of a sudden, and we're all like, shit, all my stuff's on my work computer. What's my password to all my work stuff? Yeah, this is a good one. So you got to check it out.
So I had a good day today. I remembered my password to my credit card website on the first try. All right. Don't you guys get excited when you nail it on the first try? You're like, yes! Because I feel like every day I wake up and I'm like, forget password, forget password, forget password. I hate that shit. Because then you have to answer the security questions. What third grader is writing these security questions? Aren't they a little easy? Like every time I'm on a date with a girl now and she's like, so what's the name of your first pet? I'm like, bitch, are you trying to reset my password? What's your mom's maiden name? Well, what the fuck do you want to know for? What's your mom's maiden name? What's the street you grew up on? No, you first. Right? It sucks because I hate meeting new people now. I feel like I can't tell them anything about myself, you know? Because the answers my security questions go out the, you know? They're like, hey, when's your birthday? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't tell you that. What city were you born in? Can't tell you that either. What was your first car? If you ask me one more question, I'm gonna have to lock you out for 24 hours. It's policy. Like, why is the security question so easy? Shouldn't it be harder? Like the security question should be something only you know. Like, I think the security question should be, name the person you want to have sex with the most. Of the same gender as you, right? Hey, because that's a secret. Right? If you're straight, you got to think about it for a little bit. Like, who should I put down on this? I know, put him down. There we go. And then if someone hacks in your account, they probably won't even do anything because they'll just want to call you first, right? Like, hey, man, I was going to switch around your shit, but you want to have sex with a dude from Duck Dynasty. You got problems. I hate coming up with a new password, too, because the site always judges you on it. You're like, how about this? It's like, weak. How about this? Weak. Oh, fuck you, computer. I just, like, hit a bunch of keys. It's like, strong. Please re-enter. Like, I don't know what the fuck I hit. Sometimes you do it on the phone too, man. I moved, so I had to call my cable company, and the lady's like, sir, you're gonna have to answer your security question. I was like, oh, I don't remember setting it up. What is it? She's like, what is your favorite restaurant? I was like, I don't know, Hooters? She's like, no. I was like, oh, P.F. Chang's? No, Outback? Then it just got like more and more embarrassing because I had to admit to going these shitty ass places in like the last year. I was like, Sizzler? Jack in the Box? Some Asian place with a play on words like 90214 or something? I don't know. It's raining ramen? I don't know. She's like, sir, you can just tell me your social security number. I was like, why the fuck you just asked me that before? I didn't want to tell you all that about me. Then at the end of the conversation, I was like, wait, hey, before you go, can you tell me what my favorite restaurant is? She's like, oh yeah, you said Mickey D's Nuts. And I was like, oh, shit. Should have known me better than that. Is that case sensitive? Probably not.
Good stuff as always.
Yeah,
Thanks, Laugh Factory.
Yeah.
Karate chop. You can hear Shotzi barking upstairs. First time though during the episode, so she's been pretty quiet today.
What a sweet bee.
Yeah, absolutely. Support your local rescue. Do your good stuff out there in the world, people. It was our good news today, and you can always be a part of good news by, if you have the means, support and adopt, because it's pretty awesome to do.
Have your pets spayed and neutered.
Thanks, Bob.
Preferably spayed or neutered, not both. That's kind of
Price is wrong, bitch.
Well, keep it.
Now
keep
we
it
got
with the Adam Sandler stuff.
I was just about to say, now we got Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore in today. So it's been a good day, Ben.
Yep, it definitely has been a good day. Sean, thanks for talking with me, and I'm glad everybody was able to tune in and listen.
Absolutely. We love you guys. I hope you're hanging in there. I hope you're keeping your head up. If you're doing that mental checklist and you ever need to find that person to vent to, I'm out there, you know. It's even if you don't know me. Even if you don't know me that well, I promise I can still listen. Ben is easy to talk to. We do a show together once a week and talk for an hour all the time. So conversations come easy. If you need somebody, reach out. You're not in it alone, even if you're isolated, which may seem like a paradox, but it's also the truth of today. I hope that you guys are doing the best that you can. spread some love, tackle today, and as always, make the best of what's around.
Yeah, my friend, it seems your eyes are troubled, care to share your time with me. Would you say you're feeling low and so a good idea would be to get it off your mind? See you and me have a better time than most can dream of, better than the best. So can we put on through whatever tears it does, whatever holds us down, and if nothing can be done, we'll make the best of what's around. Turns out not well, but who you're with, that really matters. That really matters, yeah. And hurts not much when you're around. When you're around, and if you hold on tight to what you think is your thing, you might find you're missing all the rest. Well, she ran up into the light, surprised. Her arms are open, her mind's eyes, seeing things from another side than most can dream of, better than the best. So can pull on through whatever tears it does, whatever holds us down, and if nothing can be done, she'll make the best of what's around. Turns out not well, but what you think that really matters, that really matters, that really matters, that really matters, yeah. See you and me have a beautiful Sharon Bryant, Candace Anderson, and Tawatha A.G.